Good to go?
We're live.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the July 14th, 2025 session of the University City Council. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Clay,
Present.
Councilmember Teeman,
Present.
Councilmember McMahon,
Here.
Councilmember Brenner,
Present.
Councilmember Fuller,
Present.
Mayor Crowe.
Here. You have before you the agenda. I believe that Councilmember Clay wants to make a motion to amend.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Crowe. I'm requesting to have item K3 move to the city manager's report.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second made by Councilmember Brenner. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. You now have before you an amended agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember Teeman. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Clay. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We have no proclamations. You have before you the June 16th, 2025 study session minutes of the fiscal year 2026 operating budget and CIP. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember McMahon. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Teeman. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. You have before you the June 23rd regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember Fuller, seconded by Councilmember Brenner. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We have no appointments. I will let you know that Gary Burr was sworn into the Senior Commission on June 16th in the clerk's office. For those folks who are sitting in the audience, if you have a request to speak, there are forms over by the door that you can fill out. Once the city clerk provides those forms to us, we can then have you come up and speak. If it's on an agenda item, we will call you when the agenda item comes forward. If it's on a non-agenda item, then we'll call you. We can call you up during the citizen comments. There are two times, one now and then one later in the program. I believe we have two requests to speak at this time on non-agenda items. When you come to the microphone, please give your name and address and limit your comments to 5 minutes. The first request to speak is from Hannah Brick.
Good evening, Mayor Crowe and members of the City Council. My name is Hannah Brick and I reside at 1079 Wilson Avenue with my husband, Liam. Every month on Wilson Avenue is difficult, but this past month was particularly emotional with the news of the flooding in Texas. I would like to pause for a moment of silence for all the lives lost. Thank you. As you can imagine, hearing news of floods anywhere brings back the trauma of our own experience. We have lost time, personal property, and sentimental heirlooms, but after hearing about the devastation of the flooding in Texas and other recent floods in Illinois, New Mexico, and North Carolina, we are particularly grateful that we still have our lives after repeated flooding in our home. We are grateful to Dr. Wagner and Mr. Girdler, who were able to help us restore internet service in our home just a few days after I spoke at the last City Council meeting. We were able to more safely track the rainfall and river gauges this month. We observed the rain on July 9th from inside of our storm door as the river rose to 8.36 feet. As with many rain events, our anxiety made it difficult to do anything else while it rained. Liam put on a rain jacket and walked up and down Wilson, clearing debris from storm drains to facilitate drainage on our street. We were grateful and lucky that the storm came to a quick end and the river did not continue to rise and threaten our home. In 2 weeks, on July 26th, we will mark the 3-year anniversary of the flooding on Wilson Avenue and throughout University City. It has been 3 years of difficulty sleeping, anxious data tracking, and daydreaming about what our lives could look like with safe housing. July is a particularly difficult month because of the anniversary, but reviewing the data shows that there are very few safe months for us on Wilson Avenue. Last fall, the river rose above 10 feet in August, October, and November. In November, it topped 14 feet and again spilled onto Wilson Avenue and into our home. Even though the summer rains will soon be behind us, the threat of flooding clearly will not be. Events and devastation like that we saw in Texas earlier this month renew people's understanding of the importance of FEMA and flood safety projects. Every time I hear about a natural disaster requiring FEMA response, I am grateful for the support and deeply saddened, knowing that many families' lives will be put on hold for years, as ours have been. Please continue to keep Wilson Avenue and the flood buyout in City Council conversations. Please continue to keep us and other families on Wilson Avenue updated about the progress on this project. We hope that we will not have to suffer any additional losses or mark another flood anniversary in our home on Wilson. Liam also texted me and wanted to send his regrets and say that he also appreciates the continued efforts on the council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next request to speak is Tom Sullivan.
Tom Sullivan, 751 Syracuse. Last Friday, cars parked on my side of Syracuse were ticketed for parking when street sweeping was to take place. What a cheap shot that was. The signs say no parking on the first Friday of the month, but since the first Friday was July 4th, maybe sweeping is moved to the next Friday. But how many people know that? It's not as if the city is concerned about keeping the streets clean. Street cleaning has been reduced from once a week to once a month, March to December. Since people get out of the practice, it means they forget about it and a lot of tickets are issued. The same is true for the first month when street cleaning restarts. Like those dinky North County cities, U-City is shaking down its citizens for ticket revenue. Not long ago, I mentioned there were streetlight poles with covers missing at the base. This is a dangerous situation as the covers provide protection from the high voltage wires, but no one in the city seems concerned. Years back, a 7-year-old boy was electrocuted in the city as he became curious about the exposed wires in a light pole. The editor of the Post-Dispatch wrote a scathing column about the indifference titled, "Shrugging Off a Child's Death." I gave locations of several poles where the covers were missing. Electrical tape was put around one, but others were ignored. One is at 739 Westgate, another on the southeast corner of Westgate and Vernon, across from the number 1 firehouse. Another is at 6840 Vernon. No doubt there are more if any of the city's 10 inspectors would look around. Speaking of streetlights, there are still several out around the city. There's one out at Olive and Kingsland. 3 more are out right across the street. I reported these months ago. Not far away, one is out on Chamberlain. One on my block only lights about half the time. Also, there are still tree branches that need to be picked up from the May tornado. There's a big pile on Cates just east of Westgate. I notified the city manager about these 2 weeks ago. There are many branches along the Eckerd Park walkway just north of Delmar. There are some on the median on the north end of Leland. Another issue is dumpsters. All over the east end of the city, there are dumpsters with lids damaged or missing. Among them is one on Heman by Metcalf Park that needs attention. There's one in the alley between Heman and Leland that needs new lids. Same for one behind 730 Leland. In the alley behind the 6600 and 6700 block of Bartmer, it looks like several dumpsters need attention. Thank you for listening to my comments.
Thank you very much. Those are all the requests we have to speak on non-agenda items. We'll now move forward to council comments. Are there any comments from members of council at this juncture? Councilmember Clay.
Thank you, Mayor Crow. I had a question about, and the city manager may not be in a position to answer this, so certainly I can take a response afterwards. Just dealing with streetlights on my own street, it was my understanding that Ameren has province over those lights. And as the city, we are merely the reporters to the entity Ameren that actually controls most of the lights. I believe we may have a handful that we actually service, but most of them, again, are the province of Ameren. Am I correct in that?
Mayor, Councilmember Clay, that is correct. The majority overwhelming majority of the streetlights that are in University City are owned by Ameren. We did, however, include in a recent article, Roar's newsletter, the proper approach for reporting those lights. Should a resident desire, it would be wonderful to have each pole has an assigned number, and so happy to distribute that article again in one of our weekly community reports.
And I will furthermore say this, and then I'll end my comments. Since I've been on council, almost 8 years, I have come to understand this reality that in dealing with our utility partners, MSD, Union Electric, I'm dating myself, Ameren, Spire, we are treated as a city as customers are. Our requests are noted and responded to in the time which the utility wishes to respond. And so for our citizens out there, please note, I have tried to personally advocate on behalf of residents with MSD in particular. And I have employed the city manager, believing that there would be some heft associated with that. I was sadly mistaken. So the city's pleas to our utility partners are often handled in the same way our residents' pleas are addressed. And frankly, there have been times individual residents have gotten faster satisfaction than when the city has made a request. That is just the unfortunate reality. We have no dominion over utilities. And I want to confirm that with the city manager. We have no dominion over utilities.
That is correct, not those utilities. The only utility that you could argue we provide is for solid waste collection.
Yes, which is ours, but I'm talking about the gas and the electric and the sewer. So I certainly hear those who are frustrated by the responses associated with streetlights and other utility issues, but I do want our residents to understand we're in the same boat everyone else is.
Thank you. We'll move forward now. There is no public hearing this evening. You have before you an amended consent agenda with items number 1 and 2. Is there a motion to approve the amended consent agenda? Motion made by Councilmember Clay, seconded by Councilmember McMahon. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Rose.
Honorable Mayor and council members, this first item K3, asks for council's approval for the mayor to be a signature on the State of Missouri Public Assistance Form FEMA Project 4490 DR-MO. And I'd ask for Finance Director Keith Cole to explain what that document is. Mr. Cole?
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Honorable Mayor, members of council. The item SEMA PA3 form. This is just part of the closeout process for the project 4490, which is the COVID projects. So as part of we've received around $99,000 from the COVID project back in 2021. And they want to close out for each city. For SEMA, they just need to close out the project. And by having the senior elected official sign the PA3 form, then that is just part of the closeout process for that project.
Councilmember Clay.
Thank you, Mayor Crow. So just to be clear, because I did get a question from a resident about this, because they saw FEMA and thought it might be related to something else. So this is strictly related to funds we received during COVID, and we are closing that out. I think it is noteworthy that we received these funds in what year, sir?
It was like 2021. So like.
So it's just now being closed out, which I think is a sad reminder to everyone, the speed in which our state and federal partners move, that we are just now closing out a grant that we received some 3 years ago. Cold comfort to those who are waiting on FEMA, certainly cold comfort, but this is the pace on it seems. Thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Cole? If there are none, is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember Teeman. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Clay. Is there a discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Rose.
Honorable Mayor and council members, this next item, item L1, there are no city managers updates, so I will move to item L2. This item asks that you consider the award of a contract to Agree Cycle for removal of storm debris from Heman Park. The project was bid, 3 bids were received. The lowest best bid being AgriCycle for $12,550. There are any questions, I and Darren Gertler would be happy to respond.
Councilmember Clay.
Thank you, Mayor Groh. I appear to be on a roll here. It just struck me that whenever I see bids and the lowest bid is appreciably lower than the other 2 bids by half or more, I just always want to ask about the scope. It's commensurate with what we actually need.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilmember Clay. Yes, we recontacted the company after we received the proposals, and they are sticking by their price. And they will provide grind up and haul away service for that pile of debris in the Heman Park.
Other questions on this item? If there are none, is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember Fuller. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember McMahon. Is there a discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Rose.
Honorable Mayor and council members, this next item, item L3, asks that you consider the site plan review for SPR-25-04 site development plan approval for 7940 Olive Boulevard for a self-service laundromat. We have our Director over Planning and Development here to present this item.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Yes, this one is relatively straightforward. It's a site plan review for 7940 Olive Boulevard. And as you can tell by the images, figures in the staff report, kind of a difficult site to work with, kind of pie-shaped, right next to River de Pear, which they will clean all that up if they get approved this evening. There was a building that was demolished there just, I think within the last year or so. So it's completely vacant at the moment. Two of the highlights, I think, of the site plan are the fact that now there were 2 curb cuts on the business that was there before. Now there'll be 1. The westernmost curb cut is going to go away. So that's always a good thing. And I've also asked them to, and they've agreed to, use more native landscaping in the landscape plan, particularly in the southern part where it tapers down to the point, the pie-shaped part. That back part there, they really can't do a whole lot with, so they're going to add a lot of native flowers, native landscaping, wildflowers, that kind of thing, which I think is will be a nice addition. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the economic development strategy. And Mr. Al Levine, the architect, and the owner, Sean Jones, are here to answer any questions, should you, excuse me, should you have any. I know Mr. Levine has signed up to answer questions as well.
So he doesn't want to speak, he just wants to answer questions?
Correct. I
Okay,
think.
I'm just making sure. Okay. Are there questions on this matter on site plan SPR 2504? Oh, you are on a roll tonight. Councilmember Clay, I think you're going for the trifecta here.
Thank you, Mayor Crowe. So this is just for folks who may not be familiar with the geography. This is east of Seafood, the Seafood City.
Correct. The River de Pear,
complex.
this side,
River
River de
de-
Pear,
right.
then Seafood City, and the chili spot is just on the other side of it.
And it is an odd shaped lot. And I know when we think Olive Development and Deerbergs and Target, a laundromat may not necessarily be the first thing that comes to mind, but I've seen that lot many times. It is a weird shape. I'm not, you could probably put some things there. I mean, I lack the imagination to really dream that up, but I think this is probably a decent use of the space. It's also right there by the River de Pear, so it's there's some challenges associated with that. So I know that some folks had some questions about this in the third ward. I'm supportive of it. I'm sure it'll be a fine amenity for the community, but we are working with an oddly shaped parcel there.
And it's going to be a nice looking building as well. I mean, it's going to be work well, I think so.
Yep.
Councilmember Brenner.
Mayor Crowe, just a question. I'm unfamiliar with what the flooding looked like in that area. Like, have we thought about that with the land?
Sure. And they'll comply with all the floodplain regulations for the site as well. I don't believe the site flooded, oddly enough, 3 years ago. You know,
We actually have. Okay, hang on one second. If you're coming to the microphone, you need to give your name and address, please, for the
Sure.
people who are watching.
Hello, everybody.
There you go.
Al Levine, Levine Associates Architects, 2025 South Brentwood Boulevard. We used to be in University City till our building was knocked down. We are in compliance with all the flood regulations. We have the FEMA map and the St. Louis County map. We're neither in the floodway, which is of course the channel, and we're not in the floodplain. There's a portion of part of the parking lot that's actually in the floodplain and it's allowed to be built there, but the building itself is well away from any flood zone.
Any other questions on this matter? Councilmember Fuller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this really is not toward the development. This is more toward Dr. Wagner. That development at that area continues to beg for some sort of pedestrian crossing across to Olive. And we're putting in a little higher density. When it was a restaurant over there before, and we have just further east of there is the old Firestone Shopping Center down in there. There's an Aldi store there. And I'm just like to put that out there in the wind. Has nothing to do with this property, but we desperately need some sort of pedestrian crossing that's gated.
I believe we're due. In fact, this may be the impetus for it to meet with the folks at MoDOT and talk about some Olive Boulevard issues. So we could certainly add this to the mix.
Thank you.
Councilmember Brenner.
Thank you, Mayor Crowe. Just to add on to that, I think Councilmember Smotherson's not here right now, but he did meet with MoDOT and I think there's some ideas about crosswalks on Olive.
Good,
So it might
yeah.
be a really good time to talk to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll see if I can push that a little bit.
Mr. Mulligan.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. With respect to this application, the council may be aware that Chapter 605 of our code regulates self-service laundries and laundromats, in particular, the hours of operation. The laundromats must be closed between midnight and 7 a.m. if the operator is seeking 24-hour a day service. the operator must come before the council and demonstrate that the extended hours will not result in noise or litter violations or create a nuisance. And then the council in its discretion may authorize those extended hours during the license year, and then city manager thereafter and in subsequent years, if he or she finds that there are no problems, may authorize the extended hours in those subsequent years. So.
Yeah, I know, John, you mentioned that to me last week sometime. I haven't talked about hours of operation with the owner, but I will, and we'll see where that goes. Thank you.
Are there other questions on this matter? I'm waiting for Councilmember Clay. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember McMahon, seconded by Councilmember Teeman. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. Are there any reports from commissions or any other reports from members of council? I don't believe we have any further requests to speak. Do we, Madam Clerk?
That is correct. There are none.
Are there any council comments this evening? Hearing no council comments this evening, I would welcome a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion? Motion made by Councilmember Teeman. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember McMahon. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you and have a nice evening.